Well, hello. My name is Dr. Kristen Guillory, and I strive to do everything under the umbrella of healing, hope, and purpose. I am a speaker, a coach, a strategist, an author, and an aunt. I believe in the power of stories and that it's okay not to be okay, and I strive to add dance to just about everything I do. So I've been sharing a little bit about my journey of leaving my amazing tenure track professor position 4 years ago. And what that journey has been like for me. It's been rough and beautiful and all of those things. So today I want to talk about the first 3 or 4 months of that journey, along with why I gave back money as a speaker. Speaking of being a speaker, I have been a speaker for over 10 years. I have spoken for Fortune 500 companies, universities, school districts, and much more. I've commanded top dollar. I've spoken at over 600 engagements. So let's go back to the first 3 months after I left my amazing job. So I was excited, after I finally heard the Lord and took that big step in faith. I was like, cool, I'm going to do this. Every time I went to email a client, my intern and I felt the urge to stop. I felt the Lord saying, no, not yet, be still. And I'm like, Lord, well, I need a job. Okay. And I kept working, still excited, kept working, and I still felt the Lord saying, no, don't move yet. And I started to move, but then doors weren't opening that I would have hoped would have been opened. And after about 3 or 4 months, so by the time we got to maybe October, I started worrying. Just a couple of months after I left the job, and I started thinking, Lord, did I make a mistake? Because things weren't moving as fast as I wanted them to move. I had looked at other people who had taken steps like this, and after 4 months, big opportunities came for them. And after 3 months, well, that wasn't my story. So we get to January, and I'm like, okay, Lord, I need an opportunity. February comes, and an opportunity comes. A really big contract, and I was overwhelmed and so grateful by this opportunity. It was great. The next month, the contract was taken away. I was devastated. I got the first payment, but because of some other things that were outside of me, the contract ended. Wasn't good for a couple of days. A few days later, I get a call from a pretty big organization who wanted me to come and do some work for them. I'm meeting with them, and they said, hey, what's your fee? And I told them my fee, and they said, oh, that's a little bit over our budget. It was about $1,500 over their budget. And I said, well, I'll send you my contract, and you can pay me what you're able to, and we'll work out some bartering things, like let me use some space and promote me on social media and a few other things. They emailed me back 2 days later and said, you know what, we're not able to do those bartering things, so we're going to pay you your full rate. I freaked out when I read that. Most people would get excited like, hey, full rate. I freaked out. I emailed them back and said, you know what? No, I want my yes to be a yes. I agreed to pay, or I agreed to charge this amount. So I'm going to charge this amount. So I gave them $1,000 discount. They never asked for it. I still gave it to them. I told myself that, no, this is my yes being a yes. No, the truth of the matter is I didn't think I deserved it. I didn't know my value at that time, and it hit me maybe 6 months later that was the reason. It's so important for us to know our value. It's not like they came back and said, no, let us pay you the full amount if I'm saying I'll give you this discount, right? So it went well. A few months later, another organization reached out to me to do another job. And this is when I was in Atlanta with my sister and brother-in-law and nephews. The youngest nephew had just been born, and I was going to go hang out in Atlanta for a month to help out. And I had been making arrangements to work with people in Atlanta, universities, and all of them just kind of stopped. And I felt the Lord say, I need you to be fully present with your family. And I was like, that's great, but I need a check. And after a few days, it settled in my spirit. And I was like, yep, Lord, you're absolutely right. 2 or 3 days later, that's when I get the email from the CEO who said, yes, we'd like you to come in and do this job for us. And I actually increased my fee 3 times. My dad had actually told me, you're not charging enough. So I increased it. I sent them the email. Here's my contract. Here's my fee. As soon as I hit send, I freaked out. Oh my gosh, I'm charging too much. Oh my gosh, I'd rather have that other amount than nothing at all. I remember a family member saying, hey, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, I think I charged too much. And he said, that's not a bad thing. They want you, right? I said, yeah. Well, they can come back and negotiate. I was like, well, yeah. 4 days later, I just landed in the airport and I get the email from the CEO who said, if this is what you charge, we're going to pay you this because you have what we need. I screamed in the airport. I'm not an overly excitable person, but I was like, ah! And what these things have taught me is, number one, you have to know your value. I've got to know my value. It's not for anyone else to tell me, but as my dad actually said, sometimes we need others to see in us what we don't see yet. And that's so important. And it was helpful for my dad to push me in that way. And even my brother-in-law said, okay, that's awesome. You got that amount, but you have a PhD. You have all this experience. You need to charge more. And I was like, okay, you better tell me. And so now I have no problem charging my fee. My fees are higher, but I'm confident in who I am. I'm confident in who the Lord made me to be. I'm honoring my gifts. Now, do I still do pro bono gigs from time to time? I absolutely do. Money is never number one. At one point it was. At one point I made money in idle, and that is so not good. I made audience members into dollar signs, and that is not good. And so I wonder how many of us start journeys, and because it doesn't turn out the way that we would hope it to turn out after just a couple of months, we're ready to quit. Or I wonder how many of us are undercharging or not truly valuing the gifts that we have. So my encouragement to you is stop devaluing, undervaluing, undermining who you are, who God says you are, and charge your worth. Now, are there clients who authentically at times are unable to pay my fee? Yes, but that's still my fee and we might work something out, or I will walk away, right? But stay the course. Stay the course. This has been a 4-year journey and it is still going. I don't regret anything. I've grown so much during this journey, but I wanted shortcuts, but there are no shortcuts to success. I wanted a microwavable journey, everything to be quick, but the Lord was like, no. While you're so busy pursuing your purpose, make sure you're pursuing me. So my encouragement to you is make sure that you know your value. It's not about being cocky, it's knowing who you are, and stay the course. Don't give up. If I can ever support you, just holler at me, shoot me a message, an email, visit my website, KristenGuillory.com. Have a wonderful day. Holla.